All right, guys, so we got to talk about a social media influencer who happens to be a black woman who is taken to social media to complain about losing a five-figure brand deal, or what allegedly is a five-figure brand deal, because she posted some pictures on her Instagram that the company didn't like. Okay, they said, look, this is unprofessional. And she also put the N-word in the caption, right? She used the N-word in the caption. So now she's crying victim because she lost out on her brand deal, claiming that this is rooted in whiteness, right? And this is oppressive, right? Because black women can't shake that ass on social media without worrying about losing sponsorship. So let's just go ahead and roll the clip so you guys can get the gist of what she's saying.
I'd like to take a minute to discuss the harsh reality that black content creators face. I recently lost out on a five-figure brand deal for posting this picture with this caption. Nowhere in the contract were there any stipulations given around what kind of content I could post, except for the branded content, which would be approved by the company. As for my personal content, nothing was said. After posting that picture and posting that caption, I received a phone call from my agent saying that the company thought it was inappropriate. And I just want to take a second to unpack that. When I read that caption, I read a playful articulation of the love I have for my man. It's been generally agreed upon by the black community for decades that the N-word isn't derogatory, it's a term of endearment. And that brings us to the photo. Yet again, when I look at this picture, I see playfulness. I see a black girl living her best life, having fun. There's nothing inappropriate about it to me, especially not in the world we live in today. For centuries, black women's bodies have been scrutinized, they've been picked apart, they've been deemed unworthy, they've been deemed inappropriate, and this is yet again an extension of that rhetoric. It's the hypersexualization of the black female body which has led to this very conversation. The only way someone else could deem this as inappropriate is if they projected their sexual desires onto me, or if they projected their underlying judgments onto me, which is what we call prejudice. Now, typically I would brush that off and say that's a you problem, but it becomes a me problem because it threatens my livelihood, just the same way these systems of oppression have threatened the livelihood of black women for centuries. Furthermore, you want access to my audience, which is mostly black women, without actually having a full appreciation for black culture. Why is it that what's considered appropriate or professional is always adjacent to whiteness? You want the activist part of me that's articulate and intelligent, but that's just one side of my black girl magic. Because the other side of me knows how to turn up and throw this ass. And that's what I'm gonna do. We don't have to separate who we are in order to please these companies. We don't have to erase or hide any aspect of our personality in order to get these bags. If you can't handle me at my back that ass up, you don't deserve me at my I have a dream.
Yeah. So essentially the gist of the argument there is that, well, if you don't like me throwing my ass up on Instagram, right, booty pics, because that's what she posted, okay, it was not even appropriate for YouTube, right? I had to blur it out just for YouTube, okay? That is how inappropriate it was, okay? For a general audience, that is. And she's crying victimhood, saying that, well, that's oppressive and is rooted in whiteness because they won't let her, put pictures of her butt on Instagram and sponsor her and pay her while she does that. And of course, you have other people, right? Soul Sister number twos lining up to defend Soul Sister number one and relieve them of all responsibility and accountability, because for whatever reason in this country, if you have a certain sex or gender, right, or if you like to sleep with people of the same sex, or if you don't like your genitals, you don't have to take any responsibility for your action.
Y'all to release yourself from the shackles of respectability politics, because nothing this black woman said was wrong at all, and I have several points to make. Some people, black people included, were saying, oh, a brand has a right to not want to be involved or associated with blah, 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 blah. And this is why in this example, that's bullshit. One, there was nothing wrong with what you posted, picture or caption, because black women can say,
I'm literally black.
It's not a slur when black people say, because black people have reclaimed it. And what happens when you reclaim a slur is, though the referential meaning might mean the same thing, the contextual meaning is different. Whether or not it is your personal decision as a black person to reclaim the N-word, it is an indisputable fact that reclaiming the N-word has been a part of black culture. Second point, when you get a brand deal, brands know your platform, they know your content, they know your audience, and they seek you out specifically for that purpose. don't work for the brand, you collaborate with the brand. And that woman is a model. She posts content like that all the time, and they should have and probably did know that. Because you collaborate with the brand, they dictate the content you make for them, not your personal content. Now what you're thinking, oh, people get fired or they lose branders all the time for the personal content. Yeah, if they do something problematic. A black woman saying ain't problematic. If a brand wants a palatable black person, they can seek that. There's plenty all out there. The thing is, these brands use blackness as a trend, so they'll seek that out, and then when they realize, oh, this is authentically us, they try to tone police and dictate how we speak or what we say or what we do. If you don't believe me and you really think it's about the N-word, interesting. How is it then that all these white content creators can do trends, dances where the songs or sounds have the N-word in them, do these trends where they dramatically don't say the N-word, right, and they still get brand deals? It's never stopped them from getting a bag. Y'all want to use black culture, blackness as a trend and want to capitalize off of it. But when the people who have created it use it, then it's a fucking problem and all of a sudden it's not professional.
Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay. Again, talk about not wanting to take any responsibility or accountability. Black women can't take responsibility or accountability for their actions simply because they're black, right? And, hey, we consider the N-word to be the worst thing ever if a white person says it, but we're supposed to let it slide when a black person says it, right? Again, it blows my mind how, again, these people that claim to seek equality aren't actually really seeking equality. What they're seeking is special rights, right? They're seeking special rights and privileges that other people don't have because they say that they are oppressed, right? Therefore, they deserve special rights and privileges, okay? If this brand didn't want a black woman representing them, didn't want to pay a black woman, didn't value black culture or whatever, they wouldn't have paid her, right? And I can tell you for a fact that brand sponsorships don't necessarily work the same way that this person is saying that they work. Brand sponsorships, depending on how you get the brand, sometimes you go to a third party or sometimes you can go direct to that brand. The person that may be deciding to work with you, they could be a low-level person. They may not always be the highest level of decision maker, right? But if somebody at a high level, okay, sees your content or you start posting content that is different than what they saw before they actually signed up to sponsor you, then that could change, right? They can decide that, you know what, maybe it's better not to sponsor this person because of the things that, they're posting that I don't necessarily agree with. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a fan of companies doing that, especially when it comes to politics, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, who am I to say that, if a company doesn't want to sponsor somebody, they just don't want to sponsor somebody. I can't force them to do that. Now, again, I think it's annoying when it's political, right? But, when it comes to, I don't know, stuff like posting nudity, right? Butt pictures and racial slurs, because that's what the N-word is. It's a racial slur. Who am I to tell a brand that, hey, you're forced to be associated with that just because the woman is black, right? Because they're black, that means you have to accept the overt sexual nature of the post, which brings me to my next point about how I love how these people, they give the best traits to white folks. And then they wonder why are white folks and everybody else doing better than black people because they assign all the best traits to them. She said, well, professionalism is rooted in whiteness. Wow. Professionalism is rooted in whiteness. So as a black person, you shouldn't be expected to be professional because you're not white, right? And only white people have the capabilities and the capacity to be professional. Again, these people don't even realize what they're saying. It's like you should expect black women to act a certain way. You should expect them to sexualize themselves. You should expect them to be ghetto. You should expect them to not have manners. You should expect them to act the same way that a racist white person, right, should expect black people to act, right? That's what they're saying, right? And this is why these people are some of the most racist people in the world, right? They're more racist than the so-called white supremacists, okay? Because they've internalized this stuff, and then they'll turn around and complain about black women being overly sexualized. Well, it's not my fault that you think my booty picture is sexual. It's actually your fault because you're seeing my overtly sexual picture in a sexual way. And it's your fault that you're seeing it that way, right? You guys understand the argument here? Like, how silly does that sound? Again, I don't understand. Like, do these people hear themselves? They should really listen to these TikToks, listen to the stuff that you say before you post it. Make sure that what you're saying actually makes sense, that you're not contradicting yourself, right? But again, they don't care because all this is about victimhood. Oh, boo-hoo, feel bad for me. I lost a brand deal, a 5-figure brand deal because I posted a picture of my butt. Well, now you know, right? Don't post pictures of your butt. And if you're going to post pictures of your butt, hey, don't be surprised when companies don't want to be associated with it. It is what it is. Again, I don't think it's necessarily always right when they do that, especially when it comes to politics. But who am I to tell them that they shouldn't be able to do that? And they're not oppressing you because they're doing that. They're doing that for their own business. Because again, otherwise, if they had such a problem with you because of your skin color, or they were holding you such a high standard, they wouldn't have signed up to sponsor you in the first place, right? Hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.